Okay, this is lesson 3.5, which is found on page 110 in your textbook. And we're talking about solving two-step equations now, which is like solving one-step equations, except twice as much. So, to solve this two-step equation, we're going to have to first undo addition and subtraction, like we did 2 lessons ago, and then undo multiplication or division, like we did 1 lesson ago. So just even in the order that we learned them. So you'll undo addition and subtraction first, then you undo multiplication and division. So if you'll notice, the first thing they did is got rid of this. So you go to the side with the variable on it, and you've got an addition here. So how do you get rid of addition? Subtraction, of course. And we subtract from both sides of the equation. These cancel out, and it leaves us with negative 3x. And here, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Now, we divide by negative 3 on both sides, and we're left with x equals negative 3 divided by negative 3, positive 1. X equals 1. So just 2 steps. First, you undo addition or subtraction. Then, you undo multiplication or division. And there are 3 problems for you to do here. This one might be a little tricky because you have to simplify this side first by using the distributive property. So first, use the distributive property here, then undo addition or subtraction, and then undo the multiplication or division. Okay, on that first problem, the first thing we're getting rid of is this addition because we undo addition and subtraction first to isolate the variable. So we're going to subtract 12. We have to do that from both sides of the equation. Both sides of the equal sign. Those cancel out, leaving us with 2x. So we still have something to do here. 4 minus 12, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the larger absolute value, so it's negative. Now I have 2x equals negative 8. I divide by 2 because I was multiplying, so I divide. Cancel out, leaving me with x equals negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So x equals negative 4 for number 1. Permanently. There we go. Here, we got to undo addition and subtraction first. This is not subtraction over here. This is negative 5 times c. We're getting rid of this plus 9. How do we get rid of a plus 9? Subtract 9, of course. Leaving me with negative 5 times c over here. Negative 16, negative 9, same sign. Add and keep, negative 25. Now I divide by negative 5. I divide by negative 5. This leaves me with c over here. And negative 25 divided by negative 5. Negative divided by negative gives me a positive. 25 divided by 5 is 5. C equals positive 5. On this, we are going to use the distributive property first. Remember, we multiply 3 times each term inside. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 equals 9. Now we get rid of the subtraction by adding 12 to each side. Leaves me with 3x over here, and 9 plus 12 is 21. Now I divide by 3, and x equals 21 divided by 3 is 7. X equals 7. Okay, here's another example they're giving us. X divided by 8 minus 1/2 equals negative 7/2. So the first thing we're going to get rid of is this subtraction. How do we get rid of subtracting 1/2? We add 1/2 to both sides. That'll leave us with just x over 8 over here. And negative 7/2 plus 1/2, different sign, subtract to get 6/2, negative of course. Negative 6/2 is the same as negative 3. Now, to get rid of this over 8, remember that means x divided by 8. How do you get rid of divided by 8? By multiplying by 8, of course. These cancel out, leaving us with x. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. X equals negative 24. So same thing, just 2 steps. Get rid of the addition and subtraction first, of course. Here are a couple more for you to do. And there you go. Okay, so number 4, first thing we do is get rid of this addition by subtracting 6. Don't even know what I was going to write there. Negative minus 6 minus 6. Those cancel out, leaving us with m over 2 equals 10, negative 6, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the positive because it was the larger of the absolute values. Now we're going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that. So I'm going to put multiply by 2, multiply by 2. This will cancel out, leaving us with just m. 4 times 2 is 8. M equals 8. Over here, first thing we have to do, this is not a subtraction problem up here. That's a negative, but this is an addition. So we have to get rid of that plus 5. We'll subtract 5 from both sides. It leaves us with negative z over 3 equals, different sign, subtract, keep the sign of the positive here because it had the larger absolute value. And now I have negative z over 3. And remember, that negative can stay out front. That negative could move up here. That negative can move down here. So it doesn't matter where you put it, you're going to get the same answer. Putting it down here makes this easier because now when I get rid of this 3, I also get rid of the negative because I want z all by itself. I don't even want a negative attached to it. So now, how do I get rid of this divided by negative 3? I multiply by negative 3, of course. Multiply by negative 3. These will cancel out, leaving me with just z. I always put that little thing in my z right there so you know it's not a 2. And so z on that side, 4 times negative 3. Different sign, negative, when you're multiplying, and 4 times 3 is 12. So z equals negative 12. Last problem. Get rid of addition and subtraction first. Well, I don't subtract 4a from this whole thing. I got to get rid of this 2/5, okay? And there's nothing in front of it, so it's a positive 2/5. Get rid of that. I'll do the opposite. Negative 2/5 or minus 2/5. These will cancel out, leaving me with 4a. Negative 6/5, negative 2/5. Same sign, add and keep. So negative 8/5. Well, now I have to multiply by 4 on both sides. So I'll multiply by 4, I'll multiply by 4. No, I don't. I was multiplying by 4. I was just joking you, making sure you're paying attention. Good job. I'm sure you caught that. I was multiplying by 4, so how do I get rid of that? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Well, this side's nice and easy because that's just going to leave us with a, but this looks a little confusing. I have negative 8/5 divided by 4. Well, remember, that's the same as 4 over 1. Now, we don't actually divide by a fraction. Remember, we multiply by its reciprocal, or flip that thing over, 1 over 4. Now I can simplify before I multiply here. 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. And I add a negative times a positive, so my answer is negative. A equals negative 2 over 5. Excellent. Well, the last example, it says combine like terms before solving. That's kind of like the problem where we had to, a couple of problems ago, where we had to do the distributive property first. We have to simplify each side before we actually start to solve this. So here I can combine 3y minus 8y before I start solving. 3y minus 8y is negative 5y equals 25. Now divide both sides by negative 5, and I get y equals negative 5. Okay, so first you simplify. And here's a couple for you to do. Make sure you simplify before you start solving these.